So I guess disaster struck last night, but I caught it. First time I've ever actually seen it happen. So as you know, this is actually Monday, so as you know, starting on Thursday, it started raining and pretty much hasn't stopped until last night. We've gotten a ton of rain, flash flooding everywhere. I've been trying very hard to keep this well from getting dirty during those flash floodings. Well, last night I learned something, that I have been 99% effective. My brain has convinced me that even the slightest amount of discoloration in the water is dirty. Today I have learned that is not the case. I've been fairly successful with all my efforts. I've been testing this well every day since it started raining. And when we're talking about rain, it's not just a little shower here or there. It's been gully washers, flooding rain. And then yesterday, everything was fine. It rained the night before last. I got up in the morning. It was still raining. No big deal. Everything was fine. And the way I know things are fine is if this is dry, right here. If this is dry, then I know the well is fine. So then it started raining about 5 o'clock last night. I came down at 7 o'clock and it was raining so hard that the chicken coop was flooded. So I spent probably an hour working with the chicken coop, trying to make ditches around the chicken coop so the chickens wouldn't jump down in a puddle of water. And I got that. I dug enough ditches that the water was draining around the chicken coop. So water was just rushing down. This is, I told you about a month ago that the worst rain I'd ever seen here happened and my water was discolored. That was nothing compared to yesterday. So I'm out in the rain digging ditches. I come back up here, I guess about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I don't know, and this was still dry right here. So I thought, hey, I won, everything's fine, I made it. Because if the chicken coop was flooded, it's the first time the chicken coop has ever been flooded. It's never happened. But I went to go get eggs last night and the eggs were covered in water. I came back out here at about 8:45, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there to shut off the generator. And I checked this again and there was water coming out of it. And so I saw what happened. Water was running kind of around here and then out the ditch. And the same thing here, it was kind of running around right here and out the ditch. So it told me that the French drain wasn't working. Now, the French drain is different than the ditch. I have two systems here that I try to use to keep water from going around the well here. So I have a ditch that I dug, and this has saved me considerably. I think that fixed most of the problems. So I went up to the ditch first of all, and my culvert was clogged again. I can't seem to keep it unclogged. It's just constantly clogged with leaves, and I'm constantly digging it out. So you can see I've dug it out. So last night, well, it's clogged again. So this is overflowing. So I dug it out and I got water to rush through it, so it was working okay. But I came down here and the water was just rushing down to the well. You can see the path it takes right down to the well. So the ditch here that I dug worked pretty well. But then when I came back here, I noticed things were wet. These leaves were wet. So that means that water was getting by somehow or another. But I knew the French drain must have stopped working. So this is the French drain. You'll see gravel here, right here. So underneath that gravel is a 4-inch pipe. The 4-inch pipe I drilled, it's PVC, I drilled holes at the bottom of it. So water comes down the gravel, gets into the pipe, and runs downhill. So I have that French drain running all the way around and around the well, trying to keep water away from it. But I knew last night the French drain wasn't working. Something was wrong. The big problem with this is if water gets to the hole of my well underneath the concrete, then water's just going to rush down there. So I'm going to explain this a little bit so everybody can understand. So what they do is they drill a 6-inch hole in the ground. Now they did this back in the 60s. It's not very deep, it's not very fancy. Modern wells are much better than these old wells. Then they take a steel pipe and they drive it down into that hole about 30 feet. So it's a 30-foot pipe. So let's pretend that is a steel pipe that they stuck down into that dirt hole. None of that dirt from the hole they drilled can fall down into the well because this pipe is holding it back. The pipe is made out of steel, and over the last 50 years it is rusted and it got a hole in it. So I was concerned that the well would end up collapsing. Roots drive into that thing, break it, or it rusts, whatever it is. Anyway, there was a hole in it. So I put in a well liner. That's what this is. So this is a 6-inch hole. I put a 4-inch pipe down there with a well packer. At the bottom of this pipe is a rubber gasket that wraps around the PVC. You buy them, it's a well packer, but it's just basically a PVC pipe with 3 or 4 rubber rings that go around it. So the rubber rings seal up against that steel pipe and you drive it down in there. That keeps the water that came in through that hole that steel pipe had, that keeps the water from falling down into the well. After I got that in there, I realized that made no difference in the world as far as keeping water out. The only thing that is preventing is from the well collapsing in on itself. When that steel pipe finally gives up and it breaks, it's going to collapse in around the well packer. So I've saved my well is what it did. It was preventive, so I can still use the well once it collapses. I mean, heck, it may have already collapsed. Who knows? So then I poured concrete around it, sealed it all up. Well, the problem is let's just assume that the well casing, the metal well casing, so that is this bottle I'm going to use it to simulate this 4-inch pipe. So you have this gap in there, that's all filled up with water, or if the pipe is collapsed, it's filled up with dirt. So what is happening now is if water gets to this steel pipe, even though the hole is not, the hole doesn't matter anymore. If it gets to the steel pipe, the well is so old that the dirt has separated from the well casing. So there's a gap in between the dirt, the hole they drilled, and the well casing. So instead of a 6-inch hole and a pipe fitting down there nice and tight, it's a 6-inch pipe with a 7-inch hole. So if water can make it to the pipe, it just goes right down into the well. So I've been trying very hard to keep water from making it to the pipe. And I've been very successful until last night. And the French drain failed. It got overwhelmed. I'm very upset with myself, first of all. I mean, we almost made it. The rain ended, I don't know, 9:30. So it didn't even have to go much longer. Like I said, I was out here most of the night watching the thing. But water was coming around. And I knew that once water was coming around, that meant water had escaped my French drain. It had escaped my ditch. Something went wrong. This morning, I figured out what went wrong. I was pretty sure it was the French drain, and it was. So I dug out the French drain. Well, the first thing is, I thought, it's been 4 years since I did it. I thought I brought the French drain all the way down to here, where the ditch is. But it's not even close. It's here. So I dug it out. Now I'm going to explain this pipe in just a minute. So give me some time. I'm kind of giving away the ending of the video. But this is the French drain right here. That pipe runs all the way back up to there. So that pipe is a 4-inch pipe that has holes drilled at the bottom of it. So when I dug this out, I finally found it because I thought it was down there. But when I finally found it, it's right here. Well, this was a dumb idea. Of course, back then I had no idea what I was doing. I assumed the French drain, I just needed to get water away from the well, but it wasn't. I mean, I really got it to get it to go down a ways from this. Here it is, here's the well, here's the pipe. That was a terrible idea, but I discovered it was a terrible idea. So when I dug it out, the pipe had dirt in it and rock, so it was kind of clogged to about back here. Not much, 3 or 4 or 5 inches, a half inch, 6 inches, something like that. So I dug all that out, and sure enough, water did come out of it. So the pipe had filled up with water, and it was just had no place to go, so it was overflowing over that gravel I just showed you, and was coming up over here. So my solution is to fix how short this is and to keep it from getting any dirt in there. So what I did was I had this pipe laying here. This pipe's been here since before we were here. As a matter of fact, it's actually a damaged pipe. I didn't know what I would ever do with it. The only thing I could use it for is to cut it off. But there is 2 big gaping holes in the pipe right there. There's another one just down from it. So I just threw it out in the woods when I found it, all those, 4 or 5 years ago. I just threw it out in the woods, kind of hid it, so the YouTuber trolls wouldn't complain that I was keeping garbage all around. I had a 90 degree, which isn't the right size, so I took 2 couplings that I had laying around, and I stuck my 90 degree in there. Now the water can drain out this direction, and it can go way past the well completely. That will take it downhill. So I'm not even going to say that this is going to fix my problems. It is just another step in the process. I was talking to Carolyn about this morning. I mean, the water is really dirty this time. I said that before I was 99% effective. All the times I've had problems with it in the last year and a half, the water's just been slightly discolored. And when I filter the water, there's no discoloration. So I run it through my 2, sediment filter and a little charcoal filter. So the filter can take out the remaining, but this was just brown water. So the code enforcement guy that keeps harassing me, I'm a former retired code enforcement, and you're dirtying up the aquifers. And, he reports me every time. So he's going to have a field day with this, but it was just absolutely dirty. Completely overwhelmed my entire system. Here's what I'm trying to think of to try to make myself feel better, but I don't know. If you lived in an area that flooded, rivers rise, it overwhelms your house, water's coming into your house, your well would get dirty. It's been flooded. That's exactly what's happening to me. The yard is flooding. The chicken coop is flooding. The chickens could drown. The rooster doesn't even want to sleep up there with the hens, or the hens won't let him sleep up there on the roost, so at least the hens are out of the water, but he's laying right in it. I felt terrible for him. Things are getting flooded. This is a serious situation, and I'm trying to keep water out of the well in a flood. And I'm almost there. I'm so close. I'm getting there. This is the thing is, I live on a mountaintop. Water should be flowing down the hill, like a mountain. I should not be flooding like I'm in some sort of valley, but I am. But now I know the French drain was clogged up. And the other thing is in all honesty, I really didn't think the French drain was doing anything anymore, simply because I dug that ditch. The ditch seems to have solved most of my problems. So this will take the water completely away from the well. It'll come down the French drain, so there's the gravel. You should be able to see the gravel there, I think. So that pipe comes down to here. We'll curve around and go completely past the well. This should solve some problems. I know every time I get on YouTube, I tell you folks, I think I figured it out. I think I solved my problem. And then I come back, nope, I didn't solve my problem. So at least you know that things can go wrong. I do fail, and I fail a lot at this. I've learned a lot, but what are you going to do? And the problem I have is, you only have these kind of rains in the springtime, so you got to wait a year. Now, we will get more rain this week. It's going to, we get 2 days off, and then it's going to start raining again. Hopefully I can get the well water pumped out and cleaned. I got to kind of wait so all that water will drip down. And once it's all dripped down, then I'll pump it out. Usually it takes 3 days, but I'm going to try it tomorrow, see if I can get it to clean out. And then I got clean water again. So we'll see. We're putting laundry on hold so we don't use too much water. So keep at it. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about, well, I actually was talking about this well. So I hope I can inspire you to keep at it so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.